If I could change just one thing about the time I spent learning to code, it wouldn't be the tutorial I chose or the programming language I started with. It would 110% be these mindset changes. So let's dive straight into them. 1. Focus on practice, not theory. When I first started coding, I came across a blog post about the 10,000-hour rule for mastery. It said if you spend 10,000 hours doing something, you'll eventually master it. In my head, I thought this meant spending endless hours reading books and watching tutorials on programming would make me a great developer. I couldn't have been more wrong. My philosophy now is completely different. I follow what I call the 10,000 lines of code rule. The goal is simple. Write 10,000 lines of code, where each 1,000 lines is better than the last. Coding is a craft. You don't improve by passively consuming information. You improve by actively practicing. It's a lot like woodworking, playing an instrument, or drawing. You have to be inefficient, slow, and even bad at first to eventually get better. This mindset helped me escape tutorial hell, that trap of endlessly watching tutorials but never building anything. When I started out, I didn't want to do the boring, beginner projects like HTML, CSS recipe websites or simple to-do apps. I wanted to skip the basics and jump straight into building complex apps like social media clones or advanced projects involving algorithms and APIs. That was my ego talking. I thought basic projects were beneath me, but the truth is those foundational projects are where you build your skills. If I had swallowed my pride and tackled those small, boring projects, I would have become a better developer in half the time. So, trust the process. Master the basics before you try to tackle the big stuff. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. As a software engineer, your job isn't to know everything, it's to solve problems. And here's the hard truth. You'll never know everything. Even as a professional developer, there will always be moments where you don't have the answers, and that's okay. For example, if you're a backend engineer, you won't know how to solve every backend problem right away. But you're expected to figure it out. That feeling of discomfort, it never goes away. And that's a good thing. The key is learning to enjoy it. When you're uncomfortable, it means you're growing, learning, and pushing beyond what you already know. See it as an opportunity, not a roadblock. You will never master programming. I see questions on Reddit all the time like, how long will it take to master this language? Should I master HTML before moving to CSS? These questions completely miss the point. In programming, you're not meant to master everything, especially as a beginner. Here's the reality. You don't master concepts by endlessly studying them. You master them by building projects and applying what you've learned. For example, when I first learned about CSS Flexbox, I made the mistake of trying to master it by watching endless tutorials and reading every blog post I could find. But now I know better. What I do instead is learn enough to get started, build something small with it, iterate and improve through practice. This approach not only makes learning more efficient, but it also helps you retain information better. How do you get hired without being a master? You might be thinking, if I'm not a master, how can I get hired as a developer? Here's the thing. You don't need to be a master to get hired. Companies hiring junior developers aren't looking for experts. They're looking for people who have a strong grasp of the basics, can build projects that demonstrate their skills, have the grit, patience, and persistence to learn and adapt. Great programmers aren't made by reading books or watching tutorials. They're made by building lots of projects, constantly learning, and embracing the fact that you'll never arrive at mastery. You're always improving. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.